For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nick Renkas. I come from a family of five: my parents, my sister Emily, and my brother Noah. My family has been a very important part of my life. They've always been there for me, whether it's been for my volleyball games, track meets, or even when I just needed someone to talk to. My parents especially have always been there to drive me all over the place, even though I know they didn't want to. I live in Lancaster and attend St. John the Baptist Elementary School and Middle School. I graduated with a class of a mere 8 kids, in which 2 are currently my best friends outside of school. Throughout middle school, I struggled with who I wanted to be and understanding what a man was supposed to be. This played an important role in choosing Canisius because I thought this school would help me figure out what I had been struggling with. Coming into Canisius High School, I didn't have a deep understanding of what I thought a man should be or an idea of the man I wanted to be. I only had the generic definition of what a man was supposed to be, of showing little emotion and being athletic. An example of this was after my graduation reception was finished. I was excited for the summer and the things that were about to unfold in my life. Through all of this excitement, I didn't care about how my little brother, then in 2nd grade, was crying because he wouldn't be able to see his older brother at school anymore. At that time, I didn't really pay attention to this event and forgot about it for a few years because I just brushed it aside. That fall, when I made the volleyball team, my mind shifted to the thought that the man I was going to be for the next 4 years of my life was going to be the student athlete that I thought all men were supposed to be. That's how my life went through the fall, and I thought I'd have a similar winter when I tried out for the basketball team. When I was cut from the team, I thought my life was ruined and I wouldn't have a very good high school experience because basketball was no longer a part of it. I dealt with this experience very immaturely and pouted about it for a long time. I didn't like school the first couple of years because it felt empty without basketball. Junior year was my most pivotal year here at Canisius. This was the year I solidified my friend group and grew the most as a person. After the volleyball season, I decided I'd go on December Kairos because I'd have enough time to do it. I heard many great things about it, and my MS retreat wasn't horrible, so I said, "What the heck," and went on the retreat. Little did I know that this would mark my transition into becoming a man and the man I want to be. On the retreat, during one of the reflections, I remember my mind wandering and thinking about the past year's events. A big event was my grandmother passing away. My mother and sister didn't handle her death very well and were very struck by it. I showed no emotion, the way I thought I was supposed to act, even though I was very upset about it. Looking back, I realized I shouldn't have done that. Kairos helped me reflect on that event and got me thinking of what I was doing and where I wanted to go. This was the first time I really thought about who I was and how I was going to become the person I want to be. I took the first step into becoming the man I want to be by reflecting and coming to terms with the past events. Another major event of junior year was my immersion trip to Washington, D.C. Although Kairos ignited the flame inside of me to become a better man, this trip kindled it. We were volunteering at the Father McKenna Center, a homeless shelter, doing whatever they needed us to do. Going into the trip, I wouldn't have described myself as an outgoing or open person, even though just a few months before, I was the most open I'd ever been on Kairos. I remember one afternoon, after serving lunch, we sat with the men and ate with them. A few other members of the group and I were gathered around this one man who was telling us a story on how he arrived here. He shared every detail of his life, even about how he lost his son and is on his way to meet back up with him. This experience solidified the trait of being open that a man has. If a man who I don't know can be this open with a group of boys who are so much different than he is, then I can be too. He didn't care what we thought of him. He was just having a normal conversation with some strangers. That is exactly how I want to be, an open person who doesn't care about the judgment of others. The final thing that I've narrowed being a man down to is being dependable. This is solidified in my friend group. The friends I've made at school didn't become firm until junior year. A lot happened junior year, whether it was a retreat, immersion trip, or just schoolwork. Because of this commotion, I wasn't always there for my friends when they needed me. This was something I knew I had to fix. My friends were always there to support me. They would come to watch some of my volleyball games, and I would never attend any of their sporting events because I always made excuses. This is true with my best friends, Evan Nixon and Andrew Sagan. They would always come to my games, and I'd never go to theirs. I felt bad about this for a long time, and I still do. It was through reflection and determination that I found the trait of being dependable for myself. I'm working on always being there for my friends, whether I've known them since I was 3 or the ones I've met through Canisius. An unfortunate event happened earlier this year that let me put all of the parts of being a man together and go out and be the man I have become. This event was the death of our classmate Danny. I was able to live out the traits that make a man during this sorrowful time. I was able to be reflective and open about the whole situation. This was because the first few days of that week, we all talked about it and could share our feelings about the situation. I displayed the trait of being dependable the day of his funeral. I was able to be there for my classmates and the whole family that surrounded Danny. Canisius has transformed my definition of what a man is and how I can become that man. The major thing that has helped me come to this realization is reflecting on what I've done. This is a major teaching of the Jesuits, and I feel Canisius High School has given me the opportunity to discover the man I am. This school has also given me lifelong friends and the ability to take my lessons on with me. I love this place, and sure I'm going to miss my second home.